I am El Shaddai. Walk with me and be trustworthy. I will make a covenant between you and give you many, many descendants. But me, my covenant is with you. You will be the ancestor of many nations. And because I have made you the ancestor of many nations, your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham. I will make you very fertile. I will produce nations from you, and kings will come from you. I will set up my covenant with you and your descendants after you in every generation as an enduring covenant. I will be your God and your descendants, God after you. I will give you your descendants the land in which you are immigrants, the whole land of Canaan, as an enduring possession, and I will be their God. You must keep my covenant, you and your descendants in every generation. This is my covenant to you and your descendants that you must keep. Circumcise every male. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskins, and it will be a symbol of the covenant between us. As for your wife Sarai, you will no longer call her Sarai. Her name will now be Sarah. I will bless her and even give you a son from her. I will bless her so that she will become nations, and kings of people will come from her.
Ha ha ha! Can a 100-year-old man really become a father? Can a 90-year-old woman really become a mother? You just need to accept Ishmael.
Well, God, I guess I did learn a lot. Although I kind of worried about me and my wife having a baby when we're this old, I kind of understand what you mean. And I do want your promise. I do want descendants, and I do want land. And I think I can keep the promise, and I think future generations will also keep your promise. And I think we'll have a good life in everlasting.
Thank you, Abraham. I'm glad you have followed my covenant, and I look forward to seeing you teach your descendants what I have taught you. Also, I hope the Jewish tradition will follow what I have taught you, and you will have peace everlasting.
So the covenant with Abraham affects the church greatly today. The covenant was a promise given from God to Abraham many years ago, and it told Abraham's descendants that to keep the covenant with God, that they must circumcise their foreskin. And we must do this today as Abraham's descendants, and to keep the promise with God. So without doing the circumcision on our foreskins, we want to keep the promise.
As acting in God in the video, I realized the true meaning and how the covenant of Abraham could affect me and the church. I realized as I was reading that the covenant was only to benefit Abraham and to benefit Abraham's descendants, which are now us, who were later to come in the future.
As filming Scout and Van, I realized that Abraham was worrying about what God was saying. However, Abraham kept the promise with God and saw that what God was saying actually deemed to be true, and Abraham's descendants only grew happier.
So there was this man, his name was Abraham. He lived only with his wife till God gave him a helping hand. A God told Abraham that he could have some land, but only if he kept the promise called the covenant. Now Abraham was in shock. God broke all the locks, pushed into his limits, knocked him right out of his own socks. And they were polka dots, there were so many spots. Abraham listened to God, never telling him to stop. Abraham fell down kneeling, couldn't let go of the feeling. God picked him up, never said stop, never said drop, but he was the one dealing. You know Abraham couldn't think, mind was blown to the brink. He was told he would have a son, but his wife was 90. Now Abraham had stepped out the covenant, said, what does this mean? God told him he had to cut the foreskin off his PP. Abraham just agreed, so we'd make God happy. He revealed the news to his descendants, they said, what does this mean? The story reflects today, it has an impact on the church. Circumcision is a process, many babies have them first. We must keep God's covenant for better, not for worse. We are all of God's followers, have to do things when they hurt. This marking is a sign, and it shows back to the promise. The covenant is more than a book, it is not just a comic. It has an effect on us today, and we can't ever stop it. Some people only take it as a joke, and they say that it's chaotic.